where are we? The first paragraph? Or the second? The end of the first paragraph. That when you have your, don't wait and then have a chayv of Maaser money. Let's start again. What way should a person do? How to do it on a regular basis? You should take it and have your money ready. Don't wait with a chayv. As you earn money, take off. It becomes very heavy. If you have a big chayv, you should get yourself used to the idea. As you get it, take it off. And he comes up with the idea of 3 ways, dividing it 3 ways. 2/3 give straight out to tzedakah. 2/3. Now he does say, this is a whole machlekes rishonim in what he now says. Ki anim tzarich litan lehem b'matana motzi. Yes, anim need the money straight away. It's not your money. It's not your money. Maaser money is momen aniyim. It belongs to aniyim. And shlish, 1/3 of the money, could be munach in a gemach. What's not needed, and when you have that, for example, who needs a gemach of? You need so much money in the gemach. So what's extra? Give it out to the aniyim. We said chesed is a loan, tzedakah is giving the money out. So the Chofetz Chaim says, when you have any money, you could take some of it off, use a gemach from that, make halva to people, and you could even use it yourself as well. You need a gemach as well. You could take from that gemach as well. Yeah.
You're supposed to make a gemach, or
No. You don't have to. Best thing is supposed to give the money out straight away. But if you want to, you could make a gemach of chesed. In other words, turn the tzedakah into chesed. So long as you realize it's not your money, and then loan it out. But you could also take it as well. I think that's what he says later. You'll see.
What did we say about money that our parents give us to spend here? Will you take money
If the money is given for you to decide exactly what you want to do with it, right? If the money is being given for food, and you need to buy food, they're paying for the food, you don't have to take Maaser. If the money is being given and you can choose exactly what you want to do with it, spending money, it's yours. You can keep it in your pocket, you can spend it. Then you take Maaser on it.
But let's say, like, you could do it either way. Like, they give you money and this is to pay for all of your necessities that you need for here in Israel. So, like, you could choose to spend with it, but you could choose to buy things that you need with it also.
You see, that's necessities. When you say the word necessities, that means it's money which you need. So they're paying for things that
you need. But you could use it on things that are, like, not necessary. Like, you could buy yourself another shirt. But, like, it's also for things that if you need money for taxis, for buses, for all these things also.
Then I would say that you would have to, because it's entirely up to what you do with the money. And you could put the money in your pocket and never spend it. Correct? If you could put it in your pocket and never spend it, and you don't really need it to live off, it's just like spending money.
But then, like, if you finish that money, you're gonna go and you're gonna.
Well, that's the point. The point is it necessities or not? Is it necessities? A person turns around to a chassid in Kala and says, take $1,000 and buy a fridge. No Maaser, because it's to buy the fridge. If it's $1,000, and if you want, you can buy a fridge, you can buy a stove, or you can go out and buy pizza. You know, you can do whatever you want with the money. Then it's Maaser. Then you have to take Maaser.
So how would you know? Like,
on that basis,
your parents,
yes, I suppose. Yes. What is that money for things which I need? Because you do need to get around on the bus, and you do need to. Certain things you don't need, and certain things you do need. I think the best thing to do is to make a cheshbon up, an account. As you spend the money. Why not at the end of the day write down, I spent the money on a bus. Well, my parents said they'll pay for that. But anything over and above what you don't need, then take Maaser from it.
Because you're supposed to take Maaser off beforehand. So, like, let's say
in that case you can't. Then in this case you can't.
But because if I take Maaser off beforehand, then I'm going to be lacking money.
So why not do it the other way around? Take Maaser off and say with the connection, with the condition that if I need any of this, I'll take it off. But in the meantime, I've taken off $20. Suppose it's $100. $200, let's say, so you take out $20 and you put the money aside, which will be Maaser money, and if I need it, I could take from it, but this is a Karen for that, so you could still do it that way. You can do whatever you want so long as you say it out. Better to say it than think it. Make a condition is fine. You'll see in a minute, you can even use your Maaser money for buying sfoim in a shul or something. It's a chesed. So long as when you take it off from the beginning, you said that. You could use it for a gemach, but you have to say it. You can't say, oh, I got $100 of Maaser money. Maybe I'll use it now for a gemach. You have to say it from the beginning. Because initially the money is money owing, it's Moman Aniyim.
So in this case, saying has power, right?
Yes.
So
Always saying has power. Always.
Let's say you promise something. So even whatever you say has power, even if you don't promise.
No, you
have for everything. Like let's say. I don't know,
it's quite straightforward. You have $1,000. Your parents give you $1,000. Now, $100 of that is Maaser money. Now, you'd have to take off a tenth, at least a tenth. Yeshayim will see in a minute. It's a minute even to take off a fifth. Maaser to Aser is 2/10, which is a fifth.
Right, so
but let's take a tenth. Out of that $100, that $100 should be going for Maaser. Now, it could be that money will not all be Maaser money because you need it for expenses. So, if you write down whatever you spend, and then you'll see how much Maaser really comes out from it. How much is Maaser money from the 1,000? It's not hard. It's not hard. Just keep everything out. And see, if the money is given from the very beginning to do whatever you want with it, then you should take off $100 straight away and give it as Moman Aniyim. If it's not, then you make those conditions, as I said.
Right, my question was more like not so much to do with money, but like I'm asking you like just saying without saying I promise to do something that has power as if you're promising.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, I'll do this with you, right? And I'll come with you, whatever. But like you're not sure. So like
you should say B'li Neder. You should say B'li Neder. Your word is your bond. What you say is binding on you. What you say, your word.
And if you don't say it like that,
so say it in a way that it's not binding. B'li Neder. I'm taking off the money, B'li Neder, and this will be for this, for Maaser money, and I'll see later how much is going to Aniyim and how much not.
If somebody doesn't say B'li Neder, that means that they have to do it.
Yes, without B'li Neder, it becomes binding on you. B'li Neder is very important. I'm going to the hospital this afternoon to visit a friend. I'm going to hospital this afternoon to visit a friend. It turns out you shouldn't. You should have said B'li Neder. Otherwise it becomes a binding word. You have to be very careful what you say. Very careful what you say. What you say is binding on you. I said I'll do it. If you said you'll do it, you should do it.
So you have to say B'li Neder if you just might do it like,
what's the middle of a tzaddik? What's the middle of a tzaddik? Doesn't say anything. Just does. Just does.
But like
the
people
less
want to
know.
No,
less you say.
People want to know who's going where. They want to go together, so,
Alright,
what are you doing this afternoon? What are you doing this afternoon? I might go to Gula.
Fine, that's okay. But I'm saying
B'li Neder?
It's better to say I might go to. Might is much better. I'm going. I'm doing is better. I'm talking about when I'm saying is better. For example, with a chesed or tzedakah.
I'm going to the nursing home and
that's a chesed. You see,
going.
but it's much better. Just do it. They always say about the Chofetz Chaim. He never said what he was going to do. He always just did it. Where does that come from? Where does the midah come from? Where does that midah come from? Of just no.
Yeah.
What? Where does the midah come from, though? Midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu Omar Vayehi. Hu Omar Vayehi. As he says, it was. Saying little and just doing is a midah of Borei Olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, and there was. Vayehi Erev Vayivoike Yom Rishon or Yom Sheni. It was. It is. It's done.
Isn't it Yom Echad?
Yom Echad. In other words, saying little, because saying means it's done. By Hashem, saying means it's done. So they say, Emamat, I say Habeh, say as little as you can, especially when it comes to a tzedakah or a chesed. Chofetz Chaim Kimat never said, he always just did. He just did it. That's the way to do it. Yeah.
If a person said, I'm planning on doing this, is it?
That's fine. That's not
Is that saying I'm doing it? Or is it more of a thing like that?
Planning on doing is, I suppose, closer to saying I'm doing it. Planning. I would have said planning. It's always good to say when you're making plans to say B'li Neder. Otherwise it's binding. Especially when it comes to a chesed. Yeah.
I don't understand. Let's say you give money for the year and you don't know how much of it you're going to use. They said it's for you to take care of some things.
Right.
But you don't know how much of it is for you to for yourself or take care of things. So you have money, they take off the tenth of it. Do you allowed to take from that tenth?
You should say like this: take off the money and leave it aside, and say this money is potentially Maaser money. which I don't yet know how much of it will be, but in the meantime I could take out or give out. In the meantime you take it off. So therefore at least it's gone. Like the Chofetz Chaim says, you took it off. And it's Maaser.
Isn't it wrong to take that much?
No, definitely, because you made it tonight from the beginning. And if I need some of that for my expenses, that's fine.
Right, but shouldn't it go to...
no, because you don't yet know how much of it is
you don't
really...
know really if it is Maaser.
Exactly.
Oh, so if somebody says to you, this money is totally yours, do whatever you want with it,
Give straight away.
then you're not allowed to take from it. Then
You could take a gamach from it. You could actually use it. We'll see later on. You could take from your own Maaser money and take it yourself a gamach from it. On the condition, there's a whole shaila. If the need comes along to be spent before, then better that you should borrow and give rather than they should borrow, because it was really your money which you took out. Who should borrow to provide for the oni? The oni or you? You, because you took out from the Maaser money. The minute procedures. Right? You have a keren, let's say $10,000 in Maaser, and you borrowed $1,000 out of the keren. And then someone comes and very great need, and you could give out $10,000 straight up. So really, you should borrow the $1,000 which you took out. You have to give back to give the $10,000. It's better rather than, you with me? So that you make it up. So that you make it up to the keren. You make it up to the keren. But so long as it's not needed, you could use it yourself.
Right, so in this situation where you don't know what's going to be Maaser, what is not, you just take it off.
With it tonight.
Right, and you say if I need it, then I'll use it,
Correct.
whatever's left.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah?
What do I do if let's say, a lot of times said stuff, but then I didn't do it, so I do have to now go and make a Tarzan there. I never said I will, or I promise I will, I just said, oh yeah, I'll do this for you. So and then let's say if I didn't do it, so now I have to apologize to the person or do
it could be, and sometimes if people are dependent on you. It could be. I don't know each case. What you should say from now on, let's say from now on, every time you make plans for the future, you should say B'li Neder. Say to the person that, I hope to be able to do this. B'li Neder.
Okay.
Easy, yeah.
Happens a lot of times that let's say someone asks me oh, can you come help me with my kids on Wednesday afternoon? And I'd say oh sure I can. And then they call up on Wednesday and say oh don't come. Is that a broken neder?
They said to you.
Yeah.
Or you said to them.
I said okay I can come, and then they said never mind I don't need to.
No.
Is that
no.
I didn't break my word? They didn't need me anymore. But
they didn't break their word.
I said that I would come.
Right, but that doesn't mean to say that
they need you.
Exactly.
That was an accepted, that was an understood thing.
I always sort of wonder about that.
Last year we didn't take off Maaser from my parents' house. Could we somehow figure it all out and then do it, or should we start from now?
You could figure it out from previously.
But if you can't,
if you can't, then do it from now.
And also, if you call, let's say it's just for necessity, then you call up your parents and say, I need this and this thing, which is more it's something that you want and not a necessity, and they say go ahead and spend that money on it, then you just take my stuff for that, because they just told you to take that money and spend it on that.
How do they put it? If it's a necessity...
No, if you call up and said, can I...
Why do you want more money?
No, it's not more money.
But?
You have let's say $100,
right.
and you're supposed to use it for taxis.
Right.
For a month. And you have a little left over at the end of the month, you say, can I spend $20 to buy myself a shirt? And they say
no,
yes.
You don't take myself now, because it's the same thing. They would pay for that normally.
Oh.
It's like they're buying you a shirt.
Right. You do it on the phone? It works on the phone?
What?
They always say about Yeshiva Bachrim, you can never call up and ask for more money on the phone.
I didn't ask for more money, I just started spending money.
Always say never, you spend all the money and borrow until you go back to Pesach. And you're sitting at the table and they're talking, then you can ask. But on the phone, can't do it on the phone. That's what they say. Yes.
At the beginning of the class you said a third is for Gemach.
That's the Chofetz Chaim.
Right. Is that on the Maaser or on
the
money?
Yes, on the Maaser. On the Maaser.
Oh, okay, fine.
The Hafroshas Maaser. Now, by the way, you should know a point. This whole footnote at the bottom, this Hagor, you see this big footnote. Hagor, it goes from the 2 pages here. The shaila that he's asking here.
What page is that?
Page Reish Kof Vov. Reish Kof. I don't think we have to do the whole thing. Just the end of page Reish Kof line. You don't have to know all the lambdas, but you have to know the Psak Halacha at the end. 5 lines up, at the end of the footnote, it says Avol be'inyoneinu. You see that? Avol be'inyoneinu. Yeah?
Which page?
On page Reish Kov Zayin, on the footnote, and I mean here, right here. Reish Kov Zayin on the footnote. Okay? That footnote is as follows. Avol be'inyaneinu, look what he says. Le'inyan Maaser. Shaloi omar b'Yerushalayim rak sheyafrish Maaser. If you never said that you would take it off, if you never said from the beginning that the money would be given over straight away to aniyim, you never said that. You are definitely able, you can hold back the money, to make a loan, to poor people. In other words, even though it's really mammon aniyim, you can still hold it back if you never said mafush. If you said, I have $1,000, I'm taking off $100, and the $100 is going for aniyim, then already it's a big shaila whether you can make a gemach out of that. But if you never said that, if you took it off, that's what I said beforehand. It has to be said at the beginning what you're going to do with the Maaser money, not after. Having said I'm taking off my Maaser money, you should stay then kederech stam gemach. I'm taking it as a gemach. I'm going to use it for gemach, and I'm not giving it all away. Then you can. If you didn't say that at the beginning, the Chofetz Chaim says you should really give the money straight out, straight away. You shouldn't hold it back for gemach. Any conditions on the Maaser money should be made as you take it. Ubichlal tzedakah. It's tzedakah because you're making a gemach out of it. Va'afilu intim siloima lahachme bozeh. And even if you want to be strict about it, meaning it's all really mammon aniyim, al kol ponim b'inyaneinu, in our topic, shemachavein be'eis techilas kabbalosai. If you accept about the money, you decide at the very beginning, it's ha-mitzvah zu bishvil zeh v'shori. It's allowed. Meaning it's allowed to take Maaser money and use it for a gemach. So long as it's decided at the beginning when you take it off. Not afterwards, because it's not yours to decide once you've taken off the Maaser money and said it's going for aniyim.
If you want to be strict about it, then what?
You have $1,000, you take off the $100. As you take off the $100, you say, this money is going for aniyim, you should not use it for gemach. Because you specifically said it's going straight away. But if as you took off the money, you said, here's my $100, and I would like to use this for gemach and for aniyim, then you could use it for both. It's also tzedakah. You would be allowed to do that. But only at the beginning, not after you took it off. Yeah.
What if someone took off the Maaser money and they just said, this is my Maaser money, but they didn't say what they're going to use it for yet?
I would say that it's not good, because it's understood it's mammon aniyim. Maaser money means mammon aniyim. You should say it clearly. Yeah.
If you're using it for different, if you're making your Maaser money into tzedakah money, aren't you stealing from the...
No, that's what he's saying, because that tanai is allowed, because it's also a chesed. It's also tzedakah.
So what, the other tzedakah money can go to them, this tzedakah money belongs to them.
So that's all this londus here. He's bringing all the point to say that since the money is going for tzedakah, and it will eventually go, but in the meantime you're making a gemach out of it, that tanai you're allowed to do from the very beginning with your Maaser money, so long as it's done from the beginning. You can't do it. You can't take from aniyim and now make a gemach.
But we said before you could buy a sitter for a show with that money.
Yes.
That's not going to end up going to an aniyim.
But it's also l'tzarchi mitzvah for tzedakah for a shul as well. It's
I understand how that's allowed, because why don't you use other money for that? Why don't
it would be
the Maaser money that belongs to someone
You're
else?
You're right. We'll come on to it later. The best of all, it should go out straight away and giving it. But if you decide you'd like to make a gemach out of it, you're allowed to make a gemach out of it, because it's your decision.
The money will eventually go to tzedakah, but
yes,
the money's
not at the moment. Not at the moment.
But the sefer that you buy for the show won't go to...
The sefer that you buy for the shul is also begeded tzedakah, because the shul is begeded tzedakah. It's allowed.
I understand that, but it's never going to go to an ani. It could, but it...
Not the whole amount. Not the whole amount. A certain amount you could take off. It's not. In other words, it doesn't automatically go to aniyim. It is mammon aniyim if it's called mammon aniyim, but it's not. It's tzedakah money if it's not called.
And you can use it for whatever you want then?
Not everyone. No, not whatever you want. Not for ever you want. You can't. There is an Indian, for example, of for a shul, for a gemach, for hachnosas kala, for other things you could use it. But hachnosas kala is probably in any case good because it's aniyim. If you're giving the money for a kala who hasn't got, that's aniyim. That's okay.
If you're going to do chesed, and
Chesed,
last time we said if you could use regular tzedakah money to pay for your way to where you're going.
yes, but not Maaser money.
Even if you said so originally, you
No.
said this is Maaser money. I'm using it to help someone who, let's
No.
say they can't afford help. They need.
Stocker money, but not Maaser money. That's not yours to use unless you're a noni.
But that's exactly the same thing, isn't it?
No, there's a difference. Maaser money is not stocker money. Stocker money is what you decide to give over and above your chiyuv. Maaser money is straight off as you take it, momanani, unless from the beginning you decide to make it a different way.
But then you could make it into tzedakah money.
Yes, but that's because you said it from the beginning it's stocker money.
So at the beginning you could say I'm using this to pay for my way to go to
No, because that's why he said only three ways. You could take off 2/3 should go straight off to aniyim. A third could go off as a gemach with a tanai from the beginning, but only when it's a tanai from the beginning, but not for any cause. A gemach is allowed, but not any chesed. And certainly not riding on a bus. Shouldn't be used for Maaser money, unless you're an oni. It's not for any cause, it's just a gemach is allowed. So it happens I once saw a tshuva of the, I think it's the chidah of the shaila about using svoim as well, and he says that you could also use for svoim, but otherwise it's momen aniyim. It's not like stocker money. Yeah.
There's maybe a shila on kibbut avim rather than tzedakah, but if you have money, but if you have money that's given for necessities, is it like an avir to use it for fun? Like, are you not allowed to do that?
Then you have to take Maaser. You have to take Maaser. If you're using it for fun, you have to take Maaser. It's no longer necessities.
Let's say the money is only there for necessities.
And you used it for something else.
No, my question is, if you have money that's allowed only for necessities.
Only then you shouldn't use it for anything but necessities.
Okay, meaning then is it an avera to go and spend it on fun?
Perhaps you should tell them. Perhaps you should say, because it's really not given for that. It's given for a reason. There will definitely be a chiyuv Maaser. On top of that, is it wrong? I mean, as far as the parents go as well. Depends how particular they are. If they just say, listen to the money for necessities and everything, and take what you need, then I don't think you have to. I think you could.
Because if there was extra money, it would last me for longer.
It depends how it's given. Sometimes parents just say, take the money and you'll use it for necessities and also spending money. Then you should make an account and see how much you need for necessities, and the rest should be Maaser. Yeah.
If you give money, but they didn't specifically say it's for this, but you in your mind said that I'm only using my money for this.
Now that's the point. It's better always to say it out. From now on, say it out. If you didn't say anything, it's just momen aniyim. If you didn't say anything, from now on you should always say. You should say that this money, I have $100 Maaser money. I'm going to give $75 is going for momen aniyim, and I made $25 I'm using for gemach. You should say it from now on. If it's not said, it's apparent.
It's not said, but you said yourself that that's what you're using it for.
Well, you did say that.
Right.
If you did say that it's going...
I'm saying your parents was telling you.
Oh, I see. No. If your
meaning they give you money.
Why did they give you the money?
They give you money so you could live off of it, but you didn't say, I need money for...
No, if they're giving it from living off, then you should make an account of how much money you need and how much is extra.
If I spent a certain amount of money and I didn't make an account yet?
Then you should from now on. What can you do? It's
so
gone.
what does that do? The money that they gave me...
I can't start saying to you that you have chayvus of going back pay. I don't think you can say such a thing.
Probably doesn't count because we didn't learn it from
No, because they gave me, I know how much they gave me, but I don't know how much I used of it was the necessity.
So do it from now on. So do it from now on. From now on, make that account.
So the Maaser can be much less.
Alright, but you'll know from now on. From now on, you'll make a cheshbon. Now you have an account. Okay, let's go on like this. The Hafroshas Maaser Inyan Gadol, top of page Reish Kov Zayin. Kamoisha Omu B'Tainis. Now look, this is very interesting. This is something very special about Maaser money. The Pasuk says, Aser to Aser. Say Chazal, Aser Bishvil Tetis Asher. Take off Maaser so that you'll become rich. You ever hear?
Yeah.
In other words, take it off. And why are you taking it off? So that you'll become rich. Ubechol davar osur lenasos HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're never allowed to test Hashem. Ubazeh mutar. But with Maaser money, you are allowed to test Hashem. In other words, I'm taking this off Hashem, make me wealthy. You're allowed to say that. Mitam sha'ama hakosu, because there's a pasuk in Malachi. Haviyu es kol ha-Maaser el beis ha'oitza. The Navi says, bring all your Maaser money to the treasury of the Beis HaMikdash. Vihi teref beveisi, so that there will be food in my house, Hashem says. I need food, korbanos. I need money in the Beis Hamikdash. And you know what will happen? And you can find favor with me because of this. I will open up all the windows of Shamayim, and I will give you a bracha beyond limits. Mamash, I promise you, you bring money into my house, says Hashem, I'll make you rich because of that. And ladies, that is a halacha in Shulchan Aruch. Siman Reish Mem Zayin. Maaser, when it comes to Maaser money, mutar lenasois Hashem yisborach. You are allowed to test Hashem. Have you ever heard such a thing? You are allowed to test Him. Say, I'm giving it for this reason, so that I'll become wealthy. You're allowed to do that.
Does it always work?
Look at the footnote. Have a look at the footnote of hey at the bottom here. Does it always work? Nobody says it works, so what's going on if it doesn't work? Have a look at this footnote. Hey. לפי שאין כאן ניסיון שבוודאי הקדוש ברוך הוא מעשיר עושה כמו שאומר שם עשר בשביל תתעשר. In other words, it's not a nisayon, it's a promise. You will become wealthy. וכן כתוב השח שבוודאי יובל, you will become wealthy. החינוך במצוות כ"ד מבאר שהמפרנס את עובדי השם. Why? Now here's the reason for it. When you give money out, meaning Maaser money, and you look after Hashem's creatures with that, ki'ilu hilva la Hashem, as if you lend money to Hashem. Malva Hashem, chaynein dal. Because it's like when you look after a poor man, you're lending the money to Hashem. You're lending Hashem. And therefore Hashem has to pay you back as a borrower. That's the reason why it works. In other words, I'm lending for Hashem. Hashem needs me to help him out by giving this poor man, so I'm giving him. So because of that, Hashem has become a borrower, and you are a lender, so Hashem gives you back for having borrowed the money. One second, let's wait 1 second. Even if it's a Baal Aveira. Now, here's your question. Now, if you see, no, I gave all my Maaser money and I didn't become a wealthy person. Yeda, you should know. It means that in Shamayim they know that's your benefit, that you didn't become wealthy. It's to your good that you didn't become very rich. So says, Beret Emunah is a sefer written by Reb Chaim Kanievsky. Pevet Zayin Mimatanos Levi Enyanim. It's brought down in Shulchan Aruch. Hashem has looked after you well by not making you rich. He's done it l'toivos secho, for your good that you didn't. So you will say, I would love to become a multimillionaire. For your benefit, Hashem did not make you a multimillionaire. He did it for l'toivos. That's psak in Shulchan Aruch. You give it on the Tanai to become wealthy, and it works. The condition says, it's brought down in Shulchan Aruch. I looked it up actually, Derech Emunah. He brings down that the Maaser, it's halacha that you didn't. It's for your good that you didn't become wealthy. So he looked after you for your good, not for your bad. Yeah.
So why, in everything Hashem looks after you for your good?
Yes, but this is even more because of the pasuk.
So why are you allowed to test Hashem with it? Because then it's just be like, look, like if you give to that, Hashem will make you wealthy if it's good for you, and He won't make you wealthy if it's bad for you. So
because you went so far as to manage and look after, He became you made Hashem into a borrower. So therefore He has to pay you back. That's the logic behind it. So this is more than any other mitzvah. When you do any mitzvah, Hashem looks after you. But this is even more so, because He borrowed from you. You went so far, and you're allowed to test Hashem with it. It's more than any other mitzvah. No other mitzvah is allowed. Maybe just have a look, ladies, on the other side. Look at this footnote. Have a look at this footnote. The shaila is like this, which this footnote is all about. Does this refer to money, or does it only refer to wheat and grain? Because when it says, bring all your Maaser el Beis HaOtzer, it refers to the grain in the Beis HaMikdash. It doesn't refer to money. Now the question is, does this condition of Ubechanuni na bezais, by testing Hashem, can you test Hashem with money, or does it only work with produce? Have a look at this footnote. In the Middle Ages, it says Elo. About 7 lines down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Will it also work with money? Will this condition of making a condition that Hashem, look, I'm giving Maaser money, therefore make me wealthy. Will this condition work with grain, only grain, or will it also work with money? You see the word Elo Vadai?
What does it mean? This is outside grain.
Because the Pasuk is only talking about grain. Bring all your Maaser to the Beis HaMikdash, bring all your Maaser food to the Beis HaMikdash. That's the Pasuk. Correct. Now, does the Pasuk also refer to when Malachi says, Ubechanuni navazois, does that also refer to money as well? Now, it says you have in the middle Elo Vadai. The Tam Shehite HaKosu Lenasois. The reason why you are allowed to test Hashem, Eino Machmas Shemekayim Mitzvahs Maaser Tavua. It's not because you did the mitzvah of Maaser with produce. Wak Machmas Shemasik Bozeh Yidei Kohanim V'Levim. It's because you looked after Kohanim and Levim. It doesn't just mean Kohen and Levim. It means Bnei Torah as well. People who sit and are Isaac in Torah, and that's where the Maaser money should really go. V'yesh teref b'Beis Hashem. There's money in yeshiva. You supported a kollel. It's not because of the Tvua, it's because the act of supporting Avdei Hashem. V'al yedei zeh yihiyeh b'yacholtom l'schazik b'Torah Hashem. Your efforts of giving your Maaser money over to a Talmud Chacham is that there will be food for yeshiva light. V'lachein omar v'hi teref b'veisi. There will be food in my house. U'b'chanuni nabazais, and you can test me with that. If I won't give a bracha, shebizchus shenoistim teref. It's in the merit of giving food. Bizchus zeh bo habracha. In the merit of the giving. That's why you can test Hashem. Never give Maaser money to a kohen who is an Am Ha'oretz, because it's not meant for an Am Ha'oretz. The reason for Maaser money is to be mechazek Avdei Hashem. That's the reason of Maaser money. Maaser is given for Kohanim and Levim, and in our times, yeshiva life. Ein Bigamo. V'im kein hochanami. Similarly here, le'inyan Maaser ksofim. So also with Maaser money. Bizmanenu nowadays, is the Chofetz Chaim. She'ikora niskan lechatchila lahasik yidei ameli Torah. The main reason of Maaser money is to support people who learn Torah. Ukediisa b'medrash Tanchuma. Aser ta'aser, aser b'shul t'lisaser, aser kedei shelo titzchaser. Take off Maaser money so that you won't go short. Remez l'meforshe yamim l'hafrish echad min ha'Maaser. It's a remez for those people who are traders to give money to Amelei Torah. Gam bozeh mutar l'nasos Hashem. Also by that. And therefore we learn a principle. She'ikara niskan, the money of Maaser money should be given lahachzik yedei Amelei Torah. Maaser money should be given to people who are involved in Torah.
So basically, if you can give them food also?
Yes, definitely.
Like you can buy things and that?
For sure.
No matter what you can give clothes.
Well, I wouldn't say no matter. It might be better to give the money because then they can choose and you don't know what they need. But if you want to use your Maaser money for giving food for kollel or for people who are learning, certainly that's fine. Yad Ezra and all these Yad Eliezer and all these things which they do, people give their Maaser money and they give food and they give whatever they to support, and the money goes for Bnei Torah, Amelei Torah. It's mainly for Kohanim Levim, and therefore in our times for Bnei Torah. Yes.
Your Maaser money, how do you give it out? You should give it out to a rabbi or give it to organizations in order to give it to the.
Yes, for sure.
Like you're not going to go yourself and give it to the.
Yeah, you could do. You could put it in his doorpost and without him knowing. Matan b'seiseh.
We don't really know who we're going to give it to.
No, sometimes you do know people in your area. A Talmud Chacham who doesn't have money, who's marrying off his daughter, and it's very hard for him.
Also, when people collect, this for Hachnas or this for.
We don't know.
You have to check up. You have to check up where it's going to. You have to check up. But if you know in your area, I know where I live. I know there are certain Talmidei Chachamim they don't have, and so you can put the money in the mailbox.
If we don't know, then we give it to a rabbi.
For sure, and tell him you should write on. This is not tzedakah money. This is Maaser money. Why? Because if it's Maaser money, he'll be more careful to give it to a Talmid Chacham. If it's tzedakah money, maybe he'll give it to Aniyim. better to give it out.
Or email it to me, or like something like that.
You said organization.
Yeah, but it's better for me to support me.
Isn't it like support yeshivas like that?
Who?
I'm getting mixed up. There's organizations
Ahebat, definitely. Pilim I don't think is. Pilim is tzedakah. Pilim I don't think is. I think Pilim is even more actually. Pidyon nefesh. Maybe it's for Jewish people who are missionary against missionary work. It's not the same. It's not the same.
The Zachar is to get kids in yeshiva. But that's also different. Supporting Bentor is trying to get kids in yeshiva.
Is that the same thing?
What?
Getting kids in yeshiva.
Can yeshiva
I don't think so. I don't think it's the same thing. No, I don't think so. I think it's better to give it to, for example, a kollel. I was in Los Angeles. Just now I was in Los Angeles. I met a very, very wealthy man, extremely wealthy man, and he was talking to me about, believe it or not, he actually said to me, he doesn't know where to give his money. He didn't know where to give his money. He doesn't know. So I said to him, I can tell you one thing. In the kollel of the Mir Yeshiva, there are great Talmidei Chachamim who are sitting and learning, and will be the best possible Maaser money you can ever give, is to give it straight to them. And he wasn't aware of it.
Do you give it to them in their hand or like?
Well, there's all different ways of giving it.
I don't know, it wasn't like
Not giving it.
Them, like say like, okay, well I have my son, I'm going to give it to
You
you.
can put it secretly and ask somebody to bring it around. Ask somebody in secret to bring it around. There's all different ways of doing it.
Here in summer, I really don't know.
There's different ways. You can ask the town Chacham to give it over to them or something.
Right, so then you ask, you don't do it yourself.
You don't have to do it yourself. It's certainly stock if you do give it yourself, but it's better not to. Better not to.
Right, somebody else like.
Nachon.
Can we just mail it into the yeshiva and they'll do the films right with it?
Yes.
Well,
Mail it into yeshiva and say, write on. This is Maaser money for Lom Dei Torah. You should write on, so they'll know what the money is for. Maybe they'll treat it differently.
Although they're really saying that like we could give like part of the Maaser money to something like Levach, like here or whatever, but like not all of it. Like,
Yes, yeah, but best of all, I mean, if you're asking the best is for Lom Dei Torah. The best. You want to divide it up and give it to other
These
aniyim.
people don't consider themselves aniyim. Like,
Maybe they're not, so therefore it's not. I don't know. Some of them are not, some of them are. Like Yad Eliezer, I think, and Yad Ezra.
no, but the people who are learning, like the people in the mirror, I mean, like, they have houses, they don't consider themselves aniyim.
לא נכון. לא ככה. Who said? Where did you get that information from? Maybe some who you know are, but there were hundreds of kollel Yungalite who, I can't tell you how many Maisim I know of especially couples from America who came over, and their parents are not really yeshiva parents, and they came over and they wanted to sit and learn. They're dedicated and they have no funds whatsoever. They have no home. They're paying in rent. They live in tremendous poverty. They have no home. Not everybody's wealthy, you know that. Not every American is made of money. I mean, it's not. And they have nothing. And they have no family connections, no support. Very difficult for them. And then they start marrying off children. They have no means whatsoever. I mean, Ein Sof, goodness me.
But they all give Maaser. I don't get this little testing business. They all give, so amazing. If somebody's a Talmud Chacham, they're not like skimping Maaser. So whatever they have, so how come this little test is not working for them?
That question was asked by Moshe Rabbeinu. What you just asked was Moshe Rabbeinu's question. Hoidi'eni no es darkecha. Please show me your ways. So Hashem answered and said, no, Pashas Kisisa.
Right. That.
What did Hashem say?
Don't ask the question. I'll turn.
Upanai lo yero. You can't see me from the front. Meaning, you can't see the reason why I do things. You can only see after. You don't know Darkei Shamayim. Ki loy machshavosai machshavosaychem. So you turn around and say they did everything right. Mayesh. Why are they aniyim if they're such Talmidei Chachamim? Answer: you don't know Darkei Shamayim. You don't know the way Hashem. They did everything right. That doesn't break the system because they're aniyim. It means Hashem is giving them a different test for whatever reason. Maybe it's all for Olam Haba. Maybe it's all.
But we know that in Judaism, not specifically for Maaser.
We don't have answers. We don't have answers for Darkei Shamayim. We don't have answers. How come a great Talmid Chacham can die young?
No,
How come
a different question, because there's no guarantee that like if you do mitzvahs, you're going to live a long life. You know?
There's definitely a guarantee of schar. No question in the world about schar.
No, I know.
But the schar that you don't choose the schar.
I know, but there's no guarantee. If you keep mitzvahs and do the right thing, you're not going to suffer. But there is a guarantee if you give tzedakah, then you will be rich. Unless...
Correct. Unless, like he says here, which is brought down, Chaim Kanevsky brings down, that definitely for your benefit at this particular point, I'm not talking about tomorrow, I'm talking about today, at this particular point it was to your benefit to have this particular nisayon. Da'akei shamayim. Now we're talking an entirely different realm. For our avodah has to be on the Shulchan Aruch. What Hashem does with it, I don't know, could be, for that Talmid Chacham, Hashem prefers to wait 2 generations or 1 generation and look after the grandchildren with great wealth. Could be that Hashem decides, I will keep all the schar for that couple and keep it for Olam Haba. Could be that Hashem turns around and says, so that they will never ever have a tzoros of a sick child. For that, I'm prepared to give them aniyas. Mi yodeh, da'akei shamayim. Mi yodeh. Yes. Very important. That's called in English answering dead ends. Not much dead when you come to a dead. I don't understand this parsha. You don't. Of course, you don't understand. You don't understand da'akei shamayim. In Hebrew, they call it a parsha stuma. Parsha stuma is a dead end. But as far as the avodah is, there's no question of the reward. No question of the reward. Remember Maaser Shlomo HaMelech, who came to Shlomo HaMelech and says, I want to know da'akei shamayim. So he said, don't ask. That's one of the famous Maaser Shlomo HaMelech. So he said, I want to know. He says, what are the birds saying? What are the animals saying? So Shlomo said, don't find out. So he persisted. So Shlomo HaMelech told him what the birds were saying. Told them. And it was clear in Shamayim that man was supposed to lose all his flock. The birds were saying, in 2 weeks' time, all his flock would. So what did he do? He quickly sold all his flock. So he had no loss. It's terrific. Once again he persisted and he said, what's da'akei shamayim? So he said, in da'akei shamayim, within a week or 2, your house will burn down. He quickly sold his house. Mamish over and over and over again, he kept on finding out. And eventually, down the line, after 3 or 4 times this happened, the next thing was, tomorrow the person will die. So he said, how can that be? Because you took away all the potential kaporas. There's no kaporas left anymore. So now look what you're left with. You don't know what da'akei shamayim is. So he died the next day. Everything was taken away. The sickness, the poverty, the illness, the this, the miyodeh da'akei shamayim. This is behind the curtain. We don't know da'akei shamayim. That there'll be a reward, ne'emon l'shalim schar. Ne'emon l'shalim schar, but die. That's emes v'emunah. Emes v'emunah. He's ne'emon to m'shalim schar. How it works? That's called emunah.
There were people who were very rich, right? So, how did they? I always feel like if somebody's rich, then they're going to end up being so involved in money. So maybe I don't know. But how did they?
Exactly.
But how did they become rich? What did they hire somebody to be involved in money for them?
Like Rabbi Yehuda Nossi was an outstandingly wealthy Minashamayim.
Right. So I don't know. I always had this
how they made their money. I don't know how they made their money.
No, I didn't say how they made money. No, how do they deal with it? Did they hire somebody to be the one? Of course. Okay, so that they can learn Torah.
Well, that's Rebbe. No, Rebbe was before he died, lifted up his fingers up. Zolke it's supposed to klapei ma'ava. No, Rabbi Yehuda Nossi. What did he say? I had all the wealth. They say Rebbe's table was like the table of the king. Nothing was missing off his table. And he never ever took any benefit for himself. Tremendous nisayon. What's one of the biggest nisyonos for a wealthy person, which most people don't realize? What's one of the biggest nisyonos from the people with money? Is not to be a Baal Gaiva. And not to think I'm the greatest because of all my money. It's a tremendous nisayon for a wealthy person. Not to walk around with a tremendous gaiva. I own the world. No.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure Rabbi Belsky has spoken to me. He's spoken to me about that many times. He kept on telling me, wealthy people, never wealthy people have a tremendous nisayon of gaiva. Tremendous nisayon because they get ahead. They're the greatest. Who's going to tell me what to do? They don't have the greatest midas. It's a nisayon of good midas. of wealthy people. Not many can overcome that nisayon. It's a nisayon. It is. It's a nisayon. On the other hand, the poor people usually are humble. They're more softer. They have good midas. So it tests you. Midas is everything. Midas tovos is everything in a person's life. How you are, how you behave, how you apply the Shulchan Aruch is midas tovos. Let's go on. Omnom. Are we over time or we still have a bit more time? It's 22. No?
Does this mean that you're going to get rich, or means just
Yes.
you're going to get paid back?
You're going to get rich. You're going to get rich. Aser to aser. Aser bishvil tesis aser. Because you take Maaser, you'll become wealthy. It's a promise, and you can test Hashem with it. Hashem, I'm giving this Maaser money so that I'll become rich. So long as the Maaser money is given to Ameli Torah.
When the person doesn't get it, someone who
But that's what you just said there.
so he's going to say, look, I mean, Hashem doesn't keep his word.
Right.
So why are we allowed to test Hashem?
But that's you're right. A person without Emunah will be impatient.
Then there's no
So
difference.
this is like a alliance. Like, look, you can test me with this.
Yes.
So like, why would it? Like,
What's
why-
the difference?
But my dear, 1 second. You're counting it as money on the table today. So who says Hashem's going to give money on the table today? You will become wealthy. But how do you know in what capacity? Maybe Hashem prefers, there will definitely be wealth, but perhaps Hashem decides your children will be outstandingly wealthy. Or I'm going to take that schar and I'm going to use it somewhere else. But Vaday, you can test Hashem with it. You can test Hashem. But there's something behind the curtain called Darkei Shamayim. And if you didn't become wealthy for
That
it...
works for everything else also, because
No,
it's,
nothing else.
what? Because Hashem's going to give you what you
Nothing else. No. Then there's nothing else like this. Only by Maaser money.
But what's the difference? It's the same thing.
This is
as
Exeres
everything else.
HaKosu. B'chanuni no b'zois. Since
Just
Hashem became
down,
alone. In this,
it's the same thing.
Hashem became a borrower here. Because he's a borrower, he has to pay back. That's what the Chofetz Chaim said in the footnote. Because he became a borrower, therefore he has to pay back. And therefore he's put in a position that he has to pay back. Don't question the hashgacha, ladies. Don't do that. Goodness me, a girl can get so burnt out. And a girl of 20, an older girl. No, I kept all my mitzvahs. I kept sneers. I davened all the
I
time.
just don't understand. Like,
Don't always-
it'll be the same thing with everything else. Like, the same way that you say that this happened with money, that, okay, fine, it's for my good. So everything that happens in the world is for my good, whether I deserve, like, everything that happens in the world, I deserve it. So it should be that you shouldn't say you could test Hashem with this.
But, so what is the reason? Because he became a borrower. That's the Chofetz Chaim's pshat. Here he became a borrower. And therefore, since the borrower always has to pay back, Hashem has to pay back. That's the answer in this mitzvah. Yeah.
I don't understand how Hashem became a borrower.
Because Malva Hashem Chonein Dal. It's a posit. Malva Hashem Chonein Dal. If you're chonein to a dal, if you look after a poor person, Malva Hashem becomes a borrower. He borrows from you because you looked after them. So that's the footnote.
That's why I gave you the money. That's the specific reason. That's why Aniyim, that's the Maaser is specifically for the Aniyim.
So you get right. That's exactly that. When you looked after Hashem's poor, so you took care of them. Because you took care of them, Hashem has to now pay you back. That's the test. That's the test in Maaser money.
So Hashem became the borrower. Hashem,
Every borrower must pay back. Every borrower must pay back. Hashem borrowed on you.
you gave money to the Niyam, but Hashem wanted to do that, so it's in the
You took over Hashem's job, and Hashem he borrowed from you. Hashem has.
Right, because like this giving to the Niyam was Hashem wanted that, so he's the borrower.
He's borrowing from you because you took care of his job.
Right.
That's this footnote. That's the footnote that we saw there.
Hashem said, I'm giving you 100, so you give me 1% back.
No. That's not the meaning here. No, it means like aser to aser. Take Maaser and you become wealthy. It's a promise in giving Maaser money.
Right. I just don't understand.
It's not a threat. It's not a threat. It's a promise.
I know. I understand that it's a blessing for us, but I just don't understand how Hashem became the borrower, because Hashem gave it to us in the first place.
No, because you didn't have to support his aniyim. That's his job, not yours. That's the point. That's the mitzvah, and that's the promise in the mitzvah.
So he's a borrower because like we're taking care of his job.
Correct. That's the posuk.
Now,
And that's the footnote
corporate
here.
person can't pay back, so Hashem can pay back.
Correct.
So Hashem gave us a mitzvah so he could give us good, and Hashem is giving us mitzvah so we can use it as an excuse. So why is this also for chesed? Because chesed also?
No other mitzvah has this a bit. That's possible because that's a custom. So that's different. Maaser money is different. Maaser money carries that extra bracha behind it. I once went with my wife to an Odom Gadol when we had financial problems at one particular point. And the first thing he turned around to me, he says to me, Chaimesh. I said, Chaimesh. A fifth, not a tenth.
That's not for everybody, is it?
No. Aser to aser. Tenth and a
I
tenth.
know, but
It's not a chiyuv. It's not a chiyuv. That's what he told me. He told me three things. Do you want to hear the other two?
Yeah.
The other two were as follows. Be very, very careful to use a lot of water when you wash. Washing, and you feel putting a lot of water is a siman bracha. And number three, you want to tell me the last one as well? You won't use it against anybody? This is a very dangerous one. Honor your wife. Give a lot of derech eretz to a woman. Where do we learn that one from? Where do we learn that one? Where do we learn that one?
We'll remember that one.
Where do we learn that one from, ladies? Where from?
she always had the...
No, what's the Maaser? Ba'avuro. Hashem, Abimelech gave the money Ba'avuro. In the schus of Sarah, Avraham had money. Do you remember? When he took the money only... If Abimelech gave the money for who? The difference between power and Abimelech. When it was Abimelech and Abimelech gave the money for Sarah, then he took it. But when it was because of Malki Tzedek, not that power, Malki Tzedek was giving the money for Avraham, Avraham wouldn't take a penny. You remember, ladies, you with me in Parshas Vayera, Lech Lecha? When it came to Malki Tzedek paying for helping Avraham win the war, Avraham says, no, michut v'atzvech na, I'm not taking a penny from you. When it came for Sarah, he took the money. From there we learn, Parnasa is in the schus of the woman. So therefore, says the Gemara in Bava Metzia, give a tremendous respect to your wife. It helps in Parnasa. Three things. Chaimesh, water, and also respect your wife. I'm trying. I'm not telling you which one is the hardest, but I'm trying. Go ahead.
I know it's the water.
Yeah.
I think that with Kohen families and stuff, not necessarily they come rich right away with Maaser, but they'll usually find more money coming in. They'll get a check or something.
Oh, definitely. Full of surprises. Full of surprises. But it's not just that. You have to know, ladies. You're going to become women. You're going to have children. You're going to have families. It's not, you don't run the world. You don't control. You do the mitzvahs and you daven and you walk around with a smile and you do what you have to do. You don't decide the way Hashem decides things. You remember the Maaser with Nachshon Waxman? You ever know?
Who's Nachshon?
Oh, you know about Nachshon?
He got killed by
a soldier was kidnapped, and on Thursday or Wednesday, years ago, on the Thursday or Wednesday, and the parents turned around and said, we would like everybody in Eretz Yisrael to light candles this coming Shabbos and daven for our son. He was kidnapped. He was a hostage for a few days. The whole of Eretz Yisrael turned out for this soldier. The Kosel was packed. There were thousands of people on Friday night. People who never in their life ever kept Shabbos, lit candles and davened. It was the most incredible Shabbos. I remember. Thousands. Everyone came to the Kosel. It was thousands of people came. On Shabbos, the army stormed the house where he was being kept as a hostage, and he was killed in crossfire. The son was killed in crossfire with the Arabs. The Tzava went in, and Nachshon Waxman was killed. He was killed. Sunday morning, I heard it myself on the radio. A secular broadcaster from Kol Yisrael turned round to the father and said to the father, no, Mr. Waxman, what did all the prayers do? What was the point of all this? There was a question. A secular Jew turned around and said, all these davening, see what the davening got you? See where it got you? Famous answer of Mr. Waxman turned around. I heard it myself, and this is what he said. Harbe pa'amim ani sha'alti et Abba, v'harbe pa'amim Abba amar ken. Abba Yachol lagid lo. Hapam Abba Amar lo. Those are the words of the father. And the man was stunned. He was silent, Steve Mamish. What do you mean? He said, you heard what I said. I heard him on the radio myself. I heard him. Unbelievable Kiddush Hashem. Abba יכול להגיד לא. אבא מה כן? הרבה פעמים אבא מה כן. הפעם הוא אמר לא. אבא יכול להגיד לא. It was unbelievable Kiddush Hashem. You יודע דרכי שמיים the way Hashem works. We don't know. אבא יכול להגיד. Many times Abba said yes. This time Abba said no. I met him actually later. I saw him somewhere, and I went over to him and I told him. And I said to him, that was an unbelievable Kiddush Hashem. I heard you. So he turned around to me and says, I'm not on there. Shoot, lo. He lived in Ramot Gimel. I said, what do you mean it's posh? No, that's the way he has to talk. Wouldn't even take mine. Shevach Vaidor. Great man. He's a carpenter. Mr. West.
Is he a carpenter?
He's a carpenter in Ramot. Yeah. Ramot. I think he's a carpenter in Ramot Gimel.
So, I was just using an example to
Great man.
that there's that people are supposed to do business that is just technical, not with their minds, that they can think about Torah. That like there's a measure says that whatever a person needs to make money, a person should do like a mindless work to make money.
No.
That they could focus on Torah.
No. The Chovas HaLevavos, I know what you mean. It's Shah Gimel Perek Hey. In Shah HaBitochen, Chovas HaLevavos says, does not say that. He says that the koiches that a person has is a gilui shchina for parnasa. That's what he says.
What does that mean?
In other words, you have abilities at doing something. Supposing a lady has a tremendous ability at art. Another lady has great ability at music. Another lady is unbelievably good with, I don't know, little things like, can work with diamonds. Another lady is very capable working with people. Another lady is very, very good working with money and figures accounts. However you are and whatever you're good at is a matnas elokim, and the Chovas HaLevavos says it's a gilui shchina of your koiches to make parnasa. That's what he says. The koiches that you have, don't ever. In other words, I'll give you an example. I was thinking of talking about this actually on Shabbos. We'll see if there's time. Something on Hishtadlus and Bitochen. Maybe we'll talk about it on Shabbos. But supposing a person is very, very good at working with people, and for them, they could make money working with people. Along comes an offer for that person to go and work with diamonds. That means sitting in a room by yourself with little stones working with it. And it would break you. It would break you to do that sort of work, because she's a person who must work with people. Is she mechuyev to take the job working with diamonds, als Hishtadlus? Why not? Because that's not her bent. You must look for what you can do and make money from that. That's called natural Hishtadlus. For example, a woman who can just about walk, she should become an athlete to make parnasa. It's ridiculous. She's not made like that. A woman who has no musical talents, but you can make a good parnasa with music. So should she train herself to become a musician? No. It's to look to see what you can do, and that's the derech of Hishtadlus. What you can. Everybody has koiches. Some people are very good working by themselves. I know for me, if I was given the job to become a sofer, sitting in front all day writing in a sofer, it would break me. I'm not made like that. I couldn't do that sort of job. Some people, the whole day they could spend just sitting writing as a sofer. I couldn't do that. Some people, it's nothing to see blood. If I had to be a shochet, I couldn't take it. I'm not made like that. I couldn't do it. So that's not me. So should I do it for parnasa? No. That's not a Hishtadlus. You have to do what you are capable of doing. And that's, the Chovas HaLevavos brings down in Shah HaBitochen, you want to look it up, Shah Gimel Perek Hey. That's the way a person should look for parnasa. Okay, let's stop here. Yeah, I'll see you over Shabbos.